Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
Welcome back to another episode of Search Talk Live. My name is Robert O'Haver. With me today is my co-host, Caleb McKelvin.
What's going on, man?
With a clap.
With the clap, and I got my crew. I got my deadheads over here, ready to listen to some Search Talk Live.
Yeah, those of you just tuning in for the first time, Search Talk Live is a digital marketing podcast / radio show, because we are on the radio as well.
Yep.
You can listen to us on iHeartRadio. You can listen to us on Spreaker. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, you name it. We're pretty much there.
SearchTalkLive.com.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the important one.
That's the important one. Yeah, absolutely. Listen to us on SearchTalkLive.com. As always, go check out previous shows. Yep. If you are a local business, our last two shows were perfect for you. So make sure you go check those out. A lot of great information on how to boost your local business, link building, social media, all that kind of stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, if you get a chance, sign up to our newsletter. We do. That gives you what's coming up and any special offers that are offered out there from our guests or even us.
Right.
Which is it's a great resource.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good stuff. As always, we've had a lot of good stuff. So, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, today, I get a lot of requests, people asking me how to use Twitter. And, so I'm like, we have got to do a show on this. So here we are. Today we're doing a show on Twitter. And our guest today is an author of the book, Master the Twitterverse. I almost say Masters of the Twitterverse. I like that.
It's like Masters of the Universe, Master the Twitterverse.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he is also an author of 37 Keys of Being a Better Networking Relationship, The Art of Networking.
Yes.
And 21 Secrets to Building Better Love Relationships. So today, if you have love relationship questions or, no, I'm kidding, or networking questions, today it's just about Twitter. So our guest today is Gary Loper. Gary, how are you?
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Pleasure being here.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us today. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, but we know it's going to be a great show today. Just on the front end, Gary, if you could, for our listeners, just kind of introduce yourself, let them know who you are and what you do.
Well, okay. I'm the master of the Twitterverse.
There you go.
What I've done is probably kind of by accident. We found Twitter about 8 years ago, and I got a tap during the process. Now I'm going to be able to use Twitter as a way to be able to coach and be able to empower people. Mm-hmm. And so the 8 years being on there, and that anniversary is coming up next week, is, I've just used all my eclectic background in marketing and sales and direct sales, customer service, manufacturing, cab driving, managed bowling centers. I think I just bring a lot of differences to the people that I work with, and on Twitter it's about relationship marketing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was a common thread through all my experiences in life, was it's about building better relationships. And so I've been able to use that on Twitter and all those experiences to be able to help businesses demystify Twitter, so you can get in there and not get blown up by it, because a lot of people they get on and they get panicked and then they just quit.
Yeah.
And that's why like a third of the accounts that are out there are inactive, mm-hmm. because nobody took the time to read an ebook or listen to a show. So that's what I'm here to.
Sorry,
that's what I'm here to try to. That's what I'm here to try to be able to do, is demystify it, because internet marketing is going to go up 500% in the next 5 years. So if you're not on now,
right,
you're going to get lost. You get lost in a flood.
Right.
It's called social anxiety.
Yeah. Well, Gary, I kind of want to dive into it, because based off of a couple of the things you said on relationship building, networking, I think a lot of people have the perception of Twitter as it's kind of an instant news feed, where that's the only benefit from it, where you kind of get instant news or instant content. It's not really something that is that networking or relationship building kind of network, kind of like Facebook or LinkedIn may be. Is that kind of a misconception, and how so?
Yeah, I think it's a big misconception, because I saw an interview from Jack Dorsey years ago, And he stated that the intention of Twitter was to become a virtual town square. So if you can imagine your Saturday morning markets and people are there with fruits and vegetables and Afghans and candles, and there's somebody singing songs and somebody doing political commentary. And that's what they envision Twitter to be. And all of those things are happening on Twitter simultaneously. So, you know, it's like having this big ocean of conversation,
right?
Or even a football stadium. 100,000 people are there. You're not going to want to know what everybody is saying. But one of the things that I help people do is to be able to narrow in and find the conversations that are going to be important to you, that you can contribute to or that you can learn from. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just so many little crevices that people can go find. And the fact that it's on 24/7 and there's no vetting, and people, you know, by using search terms and crafting your tweets, people are going to find you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
New customers are going to find you. You're not, you know, on the other networks, you have to be vetted for anybody to find you. So and I've just found, you know, you can have instant conversations with people around the globe very easily. And those are the best connections that I've made have been on Twitter.
Yeah,
right.
I think Twitter's faster at some news than some news outlets as far as getting information.
Yeah.
Oh, it is what when I'm doing some maintenance on my account or other clients' accounts, and I see something pop up, you know, Gene Wilder died. I saw that come up on Twitter. You know, all of the stuff with the wars going on. If there's something going on now with the political stuff, I see it flash up on Twitter, and then then I go run to the TV to be able to go hear some more.
Right.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. Can you walk us through what a business should do when they first start a Twitter account? You know, such as profiles, descriptions, that type of thing.
One of the first things we always tell people is to define your purpose. What are you here for? Because I think that confuses a lot of people. If you don't have a defined path, you know, then you're going to go off in a lot of different directions. I always use an example. I had a client who's a massage therapist and a landscaper. Mm-hmm. And I can build a bridge between the two of those because I'm also a massage therapist. But a lot of other people don't, and that's going to be confusing to people. Confused minds don't buy. So they want to be able to see something in your stream that, you know, is according to your purpose, how you're going to serve people, and that way it will eliminate you from, you know, wasting too much time. So that's the first thing. It's what's your purpose? It's kind of like your mission statement in business. Mm-hmm. Then you want to be able to, you know, create a good handle. So your name, you know, you got 15 characters, and you want to be able to be found and have it easy, come off easy on the tongue. Hey, go to Twitter, you know, twitter.com/Gary Loper, or follow me at Gary Loper. You know, it's easy stuff to be able to go through there. So, you know, it's a name recognition. It's a brand recognition.
Yeah. Sure.
And just thinking about, you know, and it falls in line with all the stuff that you guys are talking about, is what are people going to type into Google and Bing for you to be able to come up in their searches so you can solve their problems. Mm-hmm. So they're going to search for your name or what you do.
Right.
And, you know, also your account name. Now, you can have a different, you know, if you choose to be able to use your company name, make sure that you have your account name be your personal name.
Right.
You know, so like, you know, my company's name is Crystal Pathways. So if I would have used some variation of Crystal Pathways as the at Crystal Pathways, I need to make sure Gary Loper is on that account name so I can come up in searches for people who are looking for my name.
Sure.
Right.
I just, you know, I went looking for a guy who was in a mastermind group of mine, and I couldn't find him by his name because he had it, you know, some derivative of his company name that it was couldn't find.
Yeah. Right.
So
then that.
Sorry.
Yeah. So those are the first couple things: purpose, handle, account name, and then with that, from that purpose, you're going to be able to craft your bio. Now you have 160 characters here, and this is one of the things that, you know, those bios are searchable. So you don't want to use a lot of fluff words like "I like to work with people who do this." is you want to just be able to put those keywords. What are they going to be typing in to solving a problem? Success coach, motivation coach, Twitter expert, massage therapist, if you're that, whatever it is, put those in there because people are going to search for that. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people don't do is they don't utilize that aspect.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
While we're there, because I could probably do 25 minutes on the first steps. The first impression is then your bio, your picture.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's a graphic artist, and we love creating logos for people. But unless your logo, unless you're a Fortune 100 company, 500 company, where people recognize that logo, people want to connect with your face. They want to connect with a person. Get a current picture up there, not a glamour shot, not your pets, not a cartoon, a current head and shoulders shot. Then, when it's recognized, people have recognized me in a grocery store, and that's what you want. You want them recognizing offline from that. Then you can be able to put your logo up in the banner. Now, this is probably the most underutilized thing on everybody's site that I've gone and visited. You got a big billboard that can go behind your picture.
Mm-hmm.
And, when people click onto any website, you got 4 to 10 seconds to be able to capture their attention. Mm. They want to know who you are, what you do, how you do it, and what they can do next.
Yep.
So you want to be able to fill that up. So I have pictures of my ebooks and Bitly links where they can easily write them down and copy them and go get the book. And then I've restated my profiles because I want to be able to get it in their eye attention because the profile in the bio is down out of sight. Mm-hmm. Then other ways to be able to connect. I think I have a picture up there about my Twitter class, mm-hmm. but just an opportunity to give people an idea of what they can expect.
So what about those people that are wanting to separate their personal from their, like they have a brand and they're trying to brand it, obviously. But, where's that medium? So like, do you have 2 different accounts that you kind of bump against or so to speak?
Well, I always tell people to try to be able to master one account first. Mm-hmm. Otherwise it's like trying to herd cats. You're not going to do it. And then you're struggling and both of them suffer because you're trying to be able to, find new followers or find new content for each one of them. So now your time is split. Mm-hmm. I think, you can have your brand, put the things that those important messages that are up there.
Yeah.
But you also want to be able to direct your personality. And again, because, the internet has leveled the playing field. Mm-hmm. There's so many choices. And I think clients, prospects, they're all looking for a differentiation on why they should choose you. And putting your personality into your tweets and talking about some of your stuff. A friend of mine is a speech coach, and she had a bout with lung cancer a number of years ago, mm-hmm. and she traced that back to a gluten reaction. And so she started sharing gluten-free recipes and having conversations about that because, lung cancer, speaking, it all tied into her speaking coach thing. But she found an additional audience who was interested in those things, what brought them a step closer to hearing about her signature speech programs. Mm-hmm. So you can be able to bring part of it in. There's a lot of ways that you can be able to create a private list, for example. I grew up in Milwaukee, big Packer fan, so I have a private list of Packer news. So, it doesn't go along with my brand, but I can watch those conversations and see what's going on there.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, I want to run down the questions here. What does a business need to find people that are interested in their product or service? What do they need to do?
Well, we always start out is, you can be able to utilize hashtags. That's the pound sign in front of a word or a series of words. And so probably all of our general markets are in that. So, if you're looking, it's hashtag marketing or hashtag SEO, is go find that, and you can go find the hashtags and go see what the conversations are and view them a little bit and see who's connecting with that, who you're watching that you like what they see, and be able to connect with them. You can also, the search box on Twitter is absolutely incredible, because if you just put in any of those terms, if you put SEO up in the search box, it's going to bring you up to all the top tweets that are going on about that. It'll bring, the next tab is the live tweets, and then the third tab is all the accounts that have that word in their profile.
Yeah.
So you can be able, there's a lot of ways that you can be able to search for those terms. And I always tell people is, whatever your niche is, go look for the bigger industry.
Yeah.
And go find that bigger conversation, and then you can be able to go find them and bring them back. Another great way too is go find out, who are the leaders in that field already. One of my coaches always told me is, you should be modeling about 4 or 5 people. Somebody who's making 100,000, somebody who's making 300,000, somebody who's making 500, somebody's making $1 million, somebody who's making 5 million in your industry, and replicate what they're doing, because somebody already has your list. So you can go find somebody, one of the icons that they're doing, and watch and go see their people. Look at books, authors, mentors, a lot of that. You can find, there's a lot of ways that you find this.
One thing I wanted to mention too is that I found real success for my clients is that, let's say you're a real estate agent. You go in there and you do, in quotes, like moving to, say it's in Orlando, because that's where we're at. Let's say, quotes, I'm moving to Orlando. And you'll find all those conversations where people say they're moving to Orlando. Bam. Right. Potential clients right there. They're either buying a house or they're going to get an apartment. So you have, buku opportunities. I've also done things where, like, let's say you're an e-commerce site and you sell watches. You can go, I need a new, in quotes, I need a new watch. You do that and you'll find all the conversations about somebody needing a new watch. Then you can send them a message saying, hey, you see you're needing a new watch? Take 20% off on your new watch. Or
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's a way to open up conversations, because I've done that in the past. We're looking for people who wanted Twitter help. And so, that's what I typed in. Want Twitter help.
Right.
And so I would go to them and I'd look and I'd, go see if they got caught up in that 10% rule. And people don't realize that either. And so explain that is, when you first start on Twitter, you can follow as many people as you want up until 5,000 right now. It used to be 2,000. But then when you get to that 5,000, your following has to be within 10% of the people you're following.
Oh, okay.
So if you're at 5,000, you need to have 4,501 to be able to add one more person.
Gotcha.
So when people come up and they say, well, hey, I'll follow you back when I can, when I can, I'll just look at it and say, okay, you're in this 10% rule. And I said, well, if you go look at page 22 of my ebook, it will tell you on how you can be able to flush out some of those inactive accounts and make room for people who are present and available and want to talk to you.
Right.
Nice. And then what's the importance of Twitter lists? This is one thing I learned late in the game. 18,000 people later, I go, oh, Twitter lists? What is this? It's like, oh God.
Well, you remember when we talked about that overwhelm? So, if you turn on to Twitter and you go to that homepage and you're seeing all the tweets by everybody you're following, and then you try to scan through that for things that for conversations you want to go find, or you want to be, look for something to retweet, it's just going to take forever. Lists is a capability that you can be able to mark people and put them in a separate list that you can bring up under a list tab on Twitter, or, I tell people that, if you got lists, then you should be using Hootsuite or TweetDeck so you can bring them up in a dashboard. And it's a great way to be able to connect with people within an industry or an event that you went to or share a common interest. One of my clients who did, when we showed her how to be able to do this, that saved her over 20 hours a month in being able to find things to retweet in conversations.
Yeah.
And so all the hashtags that I use, I have lists on there. People who retweet me, people that I know always have good stuff to be able to put on there that I can retweet them. Mm-hmm. So those are all in columns. I can just run through there. I can find the good stuff. I can hit the retweet. I can make comments on all of that stuff in a very short period of time instead of getting lost in just a whirlwind of other conversations.
Right. And then you can actually link to those lists and have people subscribe to them, right?
Yes. And that's another great way too is you talked about how do you find people. Is some of those industry leaders, they probably already have a list of some of those same people within their community that they'd want to separate. Mm-hmm. And so if they have a public list, you can go subscribe to it, and then you can watch it. So why do all the work if somebody else has done it?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And you just go, yeah. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is you can go and look at other people's lists. I just had a new client that came on, and so I just looked at her site, and we followed some of the people she was following and found a myriad of lists of people who were, women 35 plus who wanted to be able to improve their lives.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, wow. So it's just the first person I clicked on, and there was just a little rabbit hole about 25, 30 different resources that I can be able to go utilize to go fill up her followers and help build up her presence.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So then let's see. The next question is, Caleb, you want to take the next one?
Yeah. We actually have a listener question from Lindsay. She's asking, how important is it to stick to a specific topic of content that is related to your brand?
Well, the first thing that come up is, a confused mind doesn't buy. So you don't want to get too far off of your brand. You want to infuse your personality into your brand. A little bit of a sense of humor, music choices, and this sort of comes up into my 4 E's of effective tweeting. Is your tweet should contain one, if not more, of these 4 elements. Is the tweets could be entertaining, and that's subjective. You have to find out what your audience is going to respond to, because if they don't like your joke or whatever it is,
right.
So, entertain. Educational. And that's not a license to go out and say, hey, here's a link to a blog about my juice that will cure your conchus of the bonkus.
Right.
It's not don't make it a promotional thing. If you're a wellness person, then give us a link to the Mayo Clinic, John Hopkins, Stanford Medical, something like that. Something that's going to be able to validate you then as a wellness expert. Mm-hmm. So educate, entertain. You want to be able to enhance their lives. So that's why I put motivational quotes out. Mm-hmm. Is I know that those always make a positive impact on people's lives. Every day, people are thanking me for sharing that message.
Yeah.
And, even the fact that, some of the messages have saved lives that I got I got emails back on. A woman was contemplating suicide until one of my messages showed up for her.
Oh, wow.
So you can be able to make a big impact, enhance their lives. And then that 4th E is engagement.
Yeah.
And in order to get engagement, and this is a big mistake that people make, is they think they can just get on there and put a question, say, hey, who wants 20% off?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if they have no trust and rapport in you, if you haven't earned the right to be able to do that, they're going to ignore you. Mm-hmm. But just, like any other audience that you're speaking at, half the audience has had their head down and they're getting it, but they're not responding to you. They're not giving you that feedback.
Right.
It's the same thing on Twitter. About 30-40% of the audience does not engage back. They're watching.
Yeah.
And they're observing, but they're not engaging. So they're actually watching to be able to see you engage. So they want to be able to see what you're saying, how you're saying it. So if they do reach out to you, they have an idea of your tone and how you're going to respond. Or even better yet, they can feel comfortable referring you. But but you have to be able to give that engagement first. So that's why another reason when you go to those lists and you go start conversations with people, compliment them on their blog, thank them for retweeting, if you see something going out there, just, start have a conversation. Hey, that was a great thought. It reminded me of this, and put it out there. Because all those people who are watching, and like anything else, every tweet's an audition. So if you really look at that, people are watching to be able to see what you're doing and who you are, and that's going to create that differentiation.
Right.
Now, told this, the story about, Felicia with the gluten, but I've also heard guys, worked with guys who were Star Wars fans. So we ran a lot of Star Wars quotes through his site. And people were having conversations about Star Wars. The guy about Star Trek, because it was the first, the original series. And again, people are looking for reasons to be able to connect. So if we give out some of those personal interests, some of those things that are going on in our lives, it's not deflecting from our brand. It's just opening ourselves up a little bit. It shows that we're human and gives them an opportunity to be able to take a look in and say, hey, I feel comfortable here.
Right. Well, I think, Gary, kind of some of the common issues that I see is people and companies really don't know how to identify what their audience, what type of content they want, and how to find it and kind of say, okay, they're engaging more with this than they are with this. We should keep feeding them this, or we really need to kind of step back and analyze what we're doing wrong and move forward. How can you find exactly what your audience is looking for and what they're going to engage most with?
Just respond and go and put it out there. I would just run some tests, but I wouldn't, if you're going back and to be able to reevaluate, I wouldn't disappear.
Yeah.
Because, just like in networking, if you don't show up for a month or 2 months, then you have to start rebuilding that rapport all over again.
Right.
I think
so. You still want to be able to have that constant presence, and you just look at it. You just run up a bunch of things and be able to see, and that's why when you start out, it's when you start out running and your intention is to do a marathon, you don't start running 26 miles the first day, or go to the gym and start lifting 400 pounds. Start little, the 5-pound dumbbells, walk around the block. And you just start growing and seeing, especially with people when they're starting. Think about Twitter as that marathon. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is they want to be able to get in and get that splash and be able to turn it instantly. And this is really a long-term relationship that you want to be able to build and substantiate over time. And a lot of people don't see, they say, oh, what's the ROI? The ROI is relationship, name recognition, community things where people then are reaching out for you as an expert and say, hey, I want you on my show.
You're right.
Yeah, I would say also you can look at your Twitter analytics. A lot of people don't know that Twitter has its own analytics, and you can see what kind of
what's getting the most engagement.
Yeah, and shares and likes and all that kind of stuff.
One of the things, there's an idea that we share with people is don't fall in love with the title of your blog or your landing page. Because, again, so if you just write up a blog and you got a title up there, that title is only going to respond to a few people. But every blog has got 5 or 6 points of brilliance in it. And so if you remember, what are people searching for? Because they're all looking for solutions for their problems. They don't care about your blog or your business. They just want to be able to find answers to their challenges. So if you look at your blog in the way that Cosmo and the Star and the Inquirer write their headlines on those grocery aisles, how do they get you to pick up the magazine and look? Get the guy, lose the guy, gain the weight, do this, try this vacation, try this recipe. And you pick it up because it's short, sexy titles and grab their attention and have the keywords for problems that they have. So I suggest writing 5 or 6 blog posts, tweets for each blog post that you can be able to capture more people's attention and and then have 5 or 6 ways to be able to drive them back to the same article.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't use that strategy because, you're right. You make different points within that certain post, and a certain audience might be attracted to one point and another might be attracted to the other. So, you kind of need to not necessarily be broad, but you need to hit on all points that, they might be searching for and they might be interested in.
Plus, you want to be able to stay off of Twitter's radar. And they don't want you to repeat the exact same tweet within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So if you have multiple tweets for the same article, you can be able to post that then several times throughout the day and every day without getting flagged.
Right.
Okay, I got another question here. This person is a real estate agent. They're asking, I'm in a local geographical area. I'm paraphrasing here. They and they want to reach just the local people. Can they do that on Twitter?
Oh yeah. Yep. Again, go. This used to be one of the hidden secrets of Twitter up until about 2 years ago, until they made it public, but still people don't realize that it's there. So again, when we said go to the search box up on the top, so then if you put your city, you put Orlando. I think you guys said you were Lake Mary. Mm-hmm. So if you put that up into the search box and you bring up the results, like you said, the top tweets, live tweets, the accounts or something. And then there's the last tab on the right says more. Click that and you're going to bring a drop down menu that's going to show you advanced search.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then you go to that advanced search, and then you can put in those exact terms or exclude terms. When you scroll a little bit farther down, you can put in the zip code.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, if you wanted to find massage therapists in Lake Mary, you could be that specific and bring it up, and then it'll bring up those results. So people who will show up in their, in the tweets or in their profiles to be able to. So you can be able to narrow it down to zip codes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's a great question.
Get really specific and targeted with it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
For our listeners, if you're just tuning in, obviously you're listening to Search Talk Live. You can get your questions in today for our Twitter expert and guru, Mr. Gary Loper. You can use hashtag Search Talk Live, and we'll get your questions in as soon as possible on air. We got a bunch of them that we're trying to get to, so get yours in now. Search Talk Live is sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. You can go to robertpalmercompanies.com. Check out everything that they have to offer. A lot of cool stuff, whether mortgage, real estate, titles, whatever you got, whatever you want, they got it. So go to robertpalmercompanies.com. Like I said, if you want to get your questions in today for our show and for Twitter expert Gary Loper, use hashtag Search Talk Live on Twitter, and we'll get those in for you.
All right, let's see. Now, number question, let's see. Search. Okay, let's talk social media monitoring and how important that is. So, like monitoring your brand, monitoring comments made about you or your interests.
Okay. Well, our favorite tool is the search tool.
Yeah.
Is we can be able to search on our name or whatever other aspect. I use the Twitter tips hashtag and just for today affirmations. So I'm doing a search on those hashtags, and I'm watching everything that comes up because I have it up on Hootsuite. I have that column. So every tweet that comes up that contains that word, I'm going to see.
Gotcha.
And the same thing with every variation of your name. At Gary Loper, hashtag Gary Loper, Gary Loper spelt out, normal, with the space. So you'd have all of those, and then you can be watching that and monitor it.
And you use Hootsuite for that?
Yeah, you just when you go to Hootsuite, so you'd probably want to be able to have this in a separate tab, and then add columns, and then you can be able to do a search for those variations, and be able to just look and be able to go through it, and that way you can be able to scan through that probably in about 15-20 minutes a day.
Nice.
And then what kind of I know you just mentioned Hootsuite. Are there other tools out there that you can use that you would recommend? Or
for monitoring, Hootsuite and TweetDeck I think are the best. There are other dashboards, but I fell in love with TweetDeck until right before Twitter bought them. They had some really good features, and they just stripped it down. And I got forced over to Hootsuite, and I just love the fact on Hootsuite because it's got another feature on that I can set up my retweets to auto schedule them.
Gotcha.
So again, people will get on, and this is something they don't really. They'll get on and say, okay, I got to retweet 5 or 10 people a day. And so they'll go on, and there'll be 5, 10 retweets all in a row. So what I utilize that is I go in and I put the auto scheduler on, and then I allow Hootsuite to be able to pick the best time to be able to schedule this out when people are more apt to be able to see it. So if I'm retweeting something of yours, the show notes will go out there, and we'll do that so it can get more attention. So I do that a lot with retweets, so I can be able to help support other people to be able to get more eyes on their stuff.
Yeah. Looks like we have a listener question. We have Jared actually emailed in. He asked, should I be using automated direct messages for my business for people who follow me, or should I not do that because it'll annoy them?
It annoys me. I'm just kidding.
Well, see, this is. I always told people that if you're going to use an auto message, make it be a sincere welcome and nothing else. Because if you're going on there and say, "Hey, thanks for following me, and now I want to be able to give you this gift," it's like, okay, that's like somebody coming up to you at the networking thing is, "Hey, call my people, we'll make a deal," kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm trying an experiment now. This is the first time in 8 years that I'm sending an auto message out, and I'm putting it out and saying, something about, have you thought today about what is possible? How can I help you? Now, I've just been doing that for about 4 days, and I'm getting a lot of conversations. A lot of people will say, "Hey, no thanks, I'm set," or what do you mean? Or it's just another way to open up a conversation that's not a selling thing. And again, Look at it. It's a relationship thing. Another relationship model is when you go on a first date and you try to close the deal on the first date, you may have a little bit of fun, but the probability of a long-term relationship is slim. But relationships that revolve over 5, 10, 15, 20 dates, and they close naturally, isn't that what you want in business? You want to be able to seduce them, not molest them. So if you're if you're thinking about doing an auto DM, thinking about it, are you molesting somebody and asking them to close the deal, and they don't know you, they don't know nothing about you. You haven't earned that right to be able to approach them.
Right. No, I mean, I think you're right. I think a lot of people who send direct messages out, they
buy this now.
Yeah. It's like they throw it in your face. Now, I have seen people who have identified the fact that they are sending a direct message. And it's like, hey, this is a direct message or an automated message. I just want to introduce myself, kind of things. if you're subtle about it and you're just kind of introducing yourself, it doesn't annoy me. But you have the people who are like, hey, download my ebook, or hey, I'm giving you this and that and this. Check out this thing I just wrote or whatever. Those kind of get really annoying. So I definitely think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Thanks. Another thing too is, a lot of people will get overwhelmed with the DMs because there is so much stuff like that. But again, if you put that up in Hootsuite or TweetDeck and you have a separate column and you can scan through, and in a short period of time, you'll be able to see quickly what's spam and what's not. Mm-hmm. But if you don't monitor that every day, there are probably missed opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I get invitations for shows, or people want to be able to do something with me, and they're sending it through DM. Mm-hmm. So, it still behooves you to be able to go there and check it out, even though it is kind of annoying at times. There's a lot of stuff, but, you got to sift through the sand to go find the gems. So
You're right.
Yeah, so you made a good point. I mean, I don't know if social media is the place to sell something. I think it's to get them to your site or get them there and then let them make that decision. But don't throw it in their face and say, buy this now, or get my free.
Well, I mean, I think you have to build that trust factor with them, and this is a great way to do it through, like Gary said, opening that line of communication and building that relationship, and then eventually you're going to get to that point where A, they're either asking questions, or B, just searching on their own.
Yeah.
Right. Another example that I use with people is PBS and NPR. Mm-hmm. They put quality content out 24/7, 365. And they've earned that trust that we know that there's good stuff there.
Yeah.
So we don't mind those fundraisers a couple times a year.
Right.
Because they've earned the right to be able to do that. And we know how that they operate that way. So just think about that. Think about, putting out good quality content. Again, it's about serving other people. What do they need to see? What do they need to hear? Be a resource for your industry. You don't have to write all the blogs. Just share other people's stuff. But if they can count on you for being, the SEO expert in that area, and everything I need to be able to know, I can just be able to click on your site. I'm going to go there, and that's going to build a reputation. And so then, hey, who do I need to know about SEO? Robert, Caleb. Then we go.
Yeah.
But you gotta earn that right, and I think people don't. They want that instantaneous stuff, and it just doesn't. It's not the way the internet and relationship marketing is going to go.
Right.
And I
think
think
hungry.
Yeah, I think it's just it's education. I mean, just everybody took on this whole social media thing and just kind of said, okay, I don't know what to do, but we're going to make up something.
Well, that was interesting. When I started on Twitter, it was like 8 years ago. I was introduced to it. Dave Lacani mentioned it at a weekend workshop that we were at. He said, hey, go check it out. So I got on, and Twitter was a year and a half old, and nobody really knew what there was going on, what to do. Later on that year, the funding for a massage position I had working with people with disabilities was eliminated. Mm-hmm. So all of that income went away, and all of the emotional support that I got by working with those clients, being in their homes with their family, that was all gone. So I got into a blue spot, and I got locked in a couch for a while. So one of the ways that I got up out of the couch was, I've been collecting motivational messages since I started working with personal development and business development in 1989. Mm-hmm. So I went to my document. I started looking at quotes to be able to lift my butt off the couch. And then I started sharing them. And then in sharing those messages, people started responding to them. So that had nothing to do with anything else. But then I found myself, and I got a little bit of a tap that said, you're going to coach. You've been a coach for 10 years. You haven't done anything with it. You're going to do it now, and this is a vehicle you're going to use. So, it doesn't all have to be about what you're selling and what you're doing. Again, think about that. It's all about them and what they're doing and what they're looking for. If you have that focus on giving and serving, you'll have a much better time, and also be able to look at have some fun.
Yeah. Know your customer.
Yeah, just get in there and have some fun, and be able, realize that, in communicating with somebody else, and again, here's an advantageous of a big list, is you're not going to do business with everybody. I think my primary account, I've got about 147,000 people there. I'm not going to do business with all of them, but I want to be able to create enough an impression upon all the rest of them.
Yeah.
That if they feel good, they can refer me. Now in real life, everybody knows 250 people who show up to your wedding or funeral. Mm-hmm. So you can be able to connect on their real life connections and then their online connections. So if you can just if you can get 100 people out of 100,000 people who really love you and want to be able to start referring to you, you'll never be hungry or want for a client again.
You're right.
Yeah. See, here's another question from Marcus. What followers should you follow back, and which ones should you avoid?
Well, I have a very simple follow rule.
Okay.
Again, because we talked about all of these factors. Remember, I follow everybody who follows me until they give me a reason not to follow them anymore.
Okay.
And so, you got to be able to look at, what are some of I have a blog post up on it. So if you want it, email me. We'll send that blog post to you. It's Gary's Follow Rules. Mm-hmm. And you can just be able to look at, those are my criteria. So, profanity or pornography, I've unfollowed people because they went on political rants. So this is a season kind of stuff. I want people to, keep your religion and your politics to yourself if you're here for business, because you have a real good opportunity that you're going to offend somebody.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was going to do business with a guy. I was going to buy a coaching program until he went on a political rant that was very contrary to my beliefs. So that cost him business. Worked with another client who made fire retardant clothing, and she goes, we want to put Bible verses through our Twitter. I'm going, okay, does your fire retardant clothing, does that save anybody else's lives other than Christians?
Yeah.
And so, you start, you send universal messages out there. There's a lot of quotes. There's a lot of things that have the same content of the passage that you want to be able to send, but you have a risk of being able to keep your market open farther.
Sure. What are your thoughts on people that have Twitter profiles that are private or using the True Tweet?
Well, True Tweet, I think, is probably one of the biggest spam viral circles possible. It's like, hey, well, follow me. You followed me. Now you want me to validate that I'm real, and you just get into the cycle. I wish they would have thrown that one service away a long time ago.
Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of social media, being social.
Right.
I don't know.
And, the private accounts, I'm not sure, for some reason they want to be able to keep themselves private or low key. Mm-hmm. I don't know, or they just want to be able to have a smaller audience. And I think part of it could be that, they could get overwhelmed and figure, well, if I'm public, then I'll have thousands of people I have to deal with, and I can't deal with that. So if they didn't take my class and realize, okay, you can be able to make lists, you can put in columns, you can do all of these other things that will, stop the overwhelm. But again, it's just personal preference.
Sure.
If you're for business, it's probably business suicide to be able to make your account private.
Right.
But again, virtual town square. So a lot of people, Twitter can be anything for anybody that they want. And just remember, those are some of the watchers. Mm-hmm. And so if they're following you, you still need to be able to look at them and say, I still want to be able to create trust and rapport with them, that they might be able to refer me or use me when they need it.
Yeah.
Personally, I have a rule. I don't follow people that don't have a bio or they have the default egg picture. And it really relieves a lot of the spam problems. Yep.
And people who don't follow you back, you can use Tweepy and Manage Flitter to be able to, do, and those are both free services, and they'll tell you if you followed somebody and they haven't followed you back, you can unfollow them.
it's a fake
or
account.
or if they haven't tweeted in 6 months, or if they're egg up there, or again, if you can even separate it by language, foreign language. So if you just wanted to stay within your native language and turn off any of those other global possibilities, then you could be able to filter those out as well.
Right.
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had another listener question.
Okay, go ahead.
We had Adam ask the question, as far as paid advertising goes, is it worth it to invest in Twitter ads?
I haven't tried them yet. I haven't seen a lot of success. But I've always had an opinion of collaborative marketing would be much more effective.
Yeah.
So my idea is to be able to have 10 or 12 people that I know have good stuff, and we all sort of agree to be able to share each other's things. And I think then we're going to be, now we're coming in on a referral.
Right.
So, so then if you got 10 people doing that all for each other, I think you're going to have a bigger reach and a bigger impact on your business, because still the ad is there's still nobody knows you.
Yep.
But you got those 10 people who know you and they're recommending you. Hey, go read this blog. Okay, I'm going there. Caleb said it was okay. I'm going.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can get that information from your networking book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same rules.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same rules. This is just networking. It's relationships. It's all three of those ebooks. They all have the same principles. It's all about connecting and going a little bit of an extra mile.
Yeah. And of course, I wanted to add too, another tip is not to buy followers.
Yeah.
That is a waste and defeats the whole purpose.
It does. It will inflate your numbers, and it might look impressive for a little while, but again, there's going to be a lot of spam accounts, a lot of fake accounts on there.
Yeah.
And when Twitter shuts them down, all of a sudden all your followers are gone. So you paid something for people who aren't targeted and aren't going to be able to do anything for you other than blow up a number.
Yeah.
You go use those tools. I think Tweepy, like the free version. I think Tweepy and Manage Flitter be able to free version, and you can be able to it's Manage Flitter.
I have that one.
To follow people, and then you can go follow people. You can go follow the followers of somebody else. So again, who's that industry leader? Who's that influencer? So then if you want to go follow Randy Gage's followers, because if you're in that MLM industry or that prosperity consciousness, you can go look at who is he following and go look at that and go and check them out and say, oh, who do I want to follow him? I want to follow him. Not that. And go through. And so that's one of the things that I do, that's a smaller explanation of what I do for my clients is get them, target customers, not customers, but followers. So somebody who's already going to be interested in what they have to be able to say, which increases the likelihood that they're going to go follow them and read their stuff.
Absolutely. We're down to about, 7 minutes in the show. Why don't you tell us where people can get your book?
Well, probably the easiest way right now, because we just learned that our site has got a little bit of a hiccup. So you can get my ebooks. The best way to do it is email me at GaryLoper.com. It's GaryLoper.com. Or send me a message, Twitter at Gary Loper, and just let me know that you'd like the ebook and include your email. If you don't want it public, then send a DM. And then we'll get the ebook out to you right away.
And that's free, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome. And then I don't want to give away the secret in your book there. I mean, I know the book's free, but what can you tell us about how you managed to build such a following on Twitter?
Well, we sort of talked about we earned the right. It's 24/7 providing content and information that enhance people's lives. And from that, I really believe that sets a, you talk a lot about, law of attraction.
Right.
So I'm just putting this out there. I'm putting out this good quality content that's out there that's going to be able to create an impression upon them, say, hey, he's sending good messages. He's got great energy. And people want to watch it. They want to look at it. And they retweet all of it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we pick up new followers on second, third, fourth generation retweets. So there's a lot of things. It's persistence and being there every single day since September 7th, 2008. And I utilize some automation tools that allow me to be able to get in and be able to do have live conversations. So there's a balance of that. But it's just putting good information out that people want to be able to do. And because those motivational quotes are a huge part of what lift me up off the couch a number of times, but it's also part of a lot of things, about a mind mastery. And I think, that's the biggest edge for entrepreneurs is, we got a lot of self-doubt or low confidence. So I just want to be able to keep building people up. Like Zig Ziglar said, they say that motivation doesn't last. Find out it is bathing. That's why you need it both every day. So I just want to give you a motivational bath or shower every single day that you can be able to go and connect. And in doing that connection, like we said, that puts out a magnet that brings people in who want to work with me.
Awesome.
And that's so if you got confidence issues or rejection issues and a lot of other things, try following that path, and people will come to you, and you won't get rejected, and you won't then you won't get scared and run away and be afraid to do anything the next time. So.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you for being on the show, man. We are running out of time here.
My pleasure. Yeah, we could just talk, questions and answers. We just go off in all sorts of different areas. So I really appreciate the opportunity. And I appreciate what you're doing because I listened to a couple of your shows in preparation. So I know what you guys are doing and sharing that information. There's a lot of good things out there that people need to do because in order to sell online, you need to be able to be found.
Yes.
So I hope that I was able to share some of those ways that people could be found on Twitter and keep sharing what you're doing to be able to help people, increase their visibility in a number of different ways.
Well, thank you, Gary. And they can follow you on Twitter at Gary Loper, right?
Loper. Yeah, Loper and cat.
Loper.
L-O-P.
And it's also GaryLoper.com, but I would wait to go there for now, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a little hiccup on there. So just send me an email at Gary@GaryLoper.com, and we'll send you the ebooks or any of the articles or any way I can help you. Just let me know. We're here to serve.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Thank everyone for listening to the show. I want to thank you. We are on every Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Next week is a huge show, and I'm super psyched.
Yeah.
This guy I've been trying to get either a Hangouts or interview with for probably the last 3 years. He's just been so extremely busy. He just hasn't been able to do it. But I finally got Mr. Danny Sullivan. Of SMX and Search Engine Roundtable. And,
absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic show. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday at 3:30, as we are every week. If you missed any part of today's show with Twitter expert Gary Loper, of course, you can go to searchtalklive.com after the show and catch up on that. We also tweet it out. You can follow us at SearchTalkLive. And, of course, Robert and I are always tweeting out the show at CJ_MCE and at Robert O'Haver. But like I said, we appreciate you listening. Go check out searchtalklive.com. Sign up for the newsletter so you can get all the updates on upcoming shows and past shows. Check us out on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker.com.
Yeah, feel free to email us, too. You can email me, Robert at searchtalklive.com or Caleb at searchtalklive.com.
Yes.
Ask questions if you have them. We are here to answer them. I get questions all the time from people all over the world, and I just love helping people. So we feel free to do that.
Yep, get your questions in for next week's show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, ASAP for Danny. It's going to be a great show. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you listening.
Have a good weekend.
Yes, everybody have a good week.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.